Hello, I'm Sarah Gillis, founder and chief dreamweaver here at Aspire Australia. Thanks for joining us for this video series on how to nominate a 482 worker. In the last video today, we'll be looking at what's next, moving on from the 482 visa. Congratulations, you've been successful. Your nomination was approved and your visa holder is in place. Loving Australia? They may want to stay longer. Let's look at the options. If you've nominated your 482 visa holder with an occupation on the MLT SSL, then they will have a visa for up to 4 years. Whilst that temporary visa can be extended for a further temporary stay, those candidates may also have an option to move forward to permanent residence. If, however, the applicant has an occupation on the STSOL, then as you know, the maximum period of stay is 2 years. This can be extended twice. One of those times must be offshore. So if your candidate was offshore at the original application, then they can extend twice onshore. If they were onshore at the time of the original application, they can extend once onshore and then will need to go offshore for a further extension. Let's look what other options are available beyond the 482. There are a myriad of options and they depend on what visas were held when and a number of other attributes. A summary of the options is available in your free download bonus with this video, so please check your email. If you have a candidate who held a 457 visa on 18 April 2017 or had an application for a 457 visa in the pipeline on that date, which was later granted, then that candidate could meet the old provisions relating to employer nomination. There are still thousands of visa holders who will be eligible under this clause. They will be eligible through the transitional pathway by showing 2 years employment in the one position for the employer. For these candidates, there is no occupation list. Whichever occupation they were approved in for the 457 visa, as long as that is the same occupation now at employer nomination stage, they may proceed. They may be under 50 years of age. These are concessions which are not available to new candidates. Nominating under the employer nomination scheme requires a nomination by the employer, just like it did at the 482 stage. If your visa holder is not in the 18th of April 2017 legacy group, then the following criteria must be met. The occupation must be on the MLT, SSL or ROL lists, and any caveats that apply to those occupations must be adhered to. This is quite a limited list of occupations, so please do check it before proceeding. The position, of course, must be genuine and must be available for the candidate to fill for a further 2 years after the nomination and visa are approved. The employer should have no adverse information about them, and as with the 482 nomination, there will be a Skilling Australia Fund levy, a one-off levy. The two pathways under the employer nomination are the transitional and the direct entry. The transitional is where you have already nominated for the temporary visa and your candidate has worked on that visa for 3 years in the same position. The employer for the 457 or 482 should now be the same employer that is nominating for permanent residence. The alternative is the direct entry pathway. This requires the visa applicant to meet certain criteria, which we will look at in a moment. So for the visa applicant, they require 3 years experience, either on the 457 or 482 visa so that they can apply through the transitional scheme, as we saw on the last slide, or if they can obtain a skills assessment, then they can apply at any time under the direct entry pathway. So even if they've only worked with you for a short time, if they have 3 years experience and can get a skills assessment, then you can nominate them directly. Regardless of the pathway, they must be under 45 years of age and have competent English. If your candidate is holding a visa in an occupation on the STSOL, as we know, that is not available for employer nomination. They may have independent, non-employer sponsored options through general skilled migration. This is a separate scheme where they can apply based on a formal skills assessment. They must again be aged under 45 years, have at least competent English, and are then assessed on a point scale. Given that your 457 or 482 candidate is likely to want to extend their stay, knowing their options before you even start the 482 process is worthwhile, so that you can have a conversation with them early. They will already be aware of their options. Communicate with them, let them know what you're willing to do, and you'll hopefully have a happy employee. If you have any questions about any of the issues that we've covered in this video series, then please take advantage of the free offer we have available for you. A 20-minute discovery call with me to answer those curly questions. The link is in the email you've received, or you can copy it down from this slide. Thank you so much for joining me on this video series. I hope it's been informative, but to make it more personal for you, please do call for your free discovery call with me, and we'll talk about your specific circumstances. I look forward to being in touch. Thanks again. Bye-bye.